everyone. Welcome to the Zoom meeting. And today the team led by Dr. Namarig will be presenting. So Dr. Namarig, when you are ready, welcome to the take it from here. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Nader.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, do you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we hear you well.
Okay. So, should we start, Dr. Nader?
Yeah, just let me share the agenda for today. So
Sure.
today we will have some introduction about this program that will be done by Dr. Naod. And then there are a couple of presenters for the other topic listed here. So now you can start, Dr. Mark, go ahead.
Right. Hello, everyone. So today's meeting will be conducted by the Blue Team, and me at Namarig Alnaeim, I'll be the moderator for the team. So our agenda today, we'll have a couple of topics to cover. The first, Dr. Naod will talk about the introduction to the program, and then we'll move to the salt preparation presentation, which will be presented by Dr. Mulham Ombada, and then the quantitative analysis, which will be presented by me, and then finally we're going to do the move to the finance in geriatric medicines, which will be presented by Dr. Talal, Abdulmotalb. And lastly, we're going to go over the project updates. So without further ado, let's start. Dr. Naod, are you ready to start?
I am ready.
All right, so go ahead. The floor is yours.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is having a good day. So the reason I offered to do this like brief introduction for the new follows is just first, we've all been in this position where the first 1 month or 2 months when we joined the project, we didn't have that much complete clue of how to proceed with the project. We always had a question day in, day out. So I felt like the least I can offer is just give a framework of the project for people who join this program, one. And secondly, it will also give a brief framework for people who just recently joining the program, and it will also answer a lot of questions for those people. So I hope you enjoy this presentation. I always like to prepare my presentation to the point. Maximum I do 15 slides, so it will be brief and to the point. So let's start by the purpose of this group or this fellowship. The main objective of this fellowship of this group is to expose or to have an exposure of medical doctors, especially international medical graduates like me or like you, to the US health system. This can be done in different aspects or in different ways. It could be either with continued medical education. So in the continued medical education, by now, most of us are either graduated doctors or on the way of being graduated doctors. So this is the easy aspect of this group because this is purely about science, about medicine, about history, physical examination, different atypical cases, and clinical case scenarios of medical condition. So this is the easy aspect. The reason why this part is incorporated into this group is just as a whole frame of like giving a good check boxes to this program. And the second one is the research aspect. The research aspect will focus on publications, posters, and abstract presentation. So this will help you either introducing yourself to the research world, one, and secondly, it will also help you have a good, well-rounded CV when you apply to residency. So the research that we do, it might be focused on publication, one, it might be focused on posters, two, it might also be focused on abstract. And the third aspect is networking. Networking might be within this group or outside this group. I was lucky enough when I first joined this group, I didn't know anyone, but over the last 1 year, I got the chance to work, to collaborate, to ask advice, or to be asked about different things from different group members. And it's really an enjoyable and wholesome experience, especially if you are joining this group for the first time. And luckily enough for most of you, everyone is willing to help and everyone have a good heart to participate in project, to lead a project or be part of a project. And the next one is update on new developments, especially on the IT sector, which will focus in conjunction to medicine. This was my favorite part of this project because you can learn, you can write, you can study medicine, but nowadays the importance of technology as a way of improving medicine have skyrocketed recently. So this was my favorite aspect of the project, building up, seeing different programs, research tools, how to find articles, how to present a video, how to do graphs. So this you don't usually learn it in medical school, and this was actually my favorite part of the fellowship. And the next one is you will have access to quick reference or answers on urgent issues. Instead of picking up your cell phone, Googling every issue or problem you have as an AMG, you can simply text in the WhatsApp group saying that, hey, I need this, I need that. How can I do this? How can I proceed from this? So you will have a wholesome group of people who are willing to help, at the same time who are also willing to ask questions from their side. And eventually, the whole objective of this group is matching to residency. So if you are able to tick all the boxes from here to here, the whole objective is for you to match into residency. And next one is the structure of this fellowship or group. So we have a director, which is Dr. Nadir. So under the umbrella of Dr. Nadir, we have team leaders color-wise. So each team leader will lead his team depending on the different color. And under the groups, we have team players. And these team players will participate in each team to present as well as to be active participant of the group. We also have guest speakers which might not be part of this group, but eventually show up to this meeting to give us guidance and also to give us input on how to proceed with our medical career. Once in a while, as I think if I'm wrong, before 2 or 3 weeks, you might also get a good referral. I heard, I don't know what the name of the participant was like, but once in a while, if you participate in this group, and if you got a chance to interview a fellowship, residency, or a different research project, referral from this group will be also a very helpful thing. And this is also part of the purpose of this group. And others, you got to know a lot of people with different experience, different ambition, different goals in life from all over the world, the US, Canada, Europe, Middle East, Africa. So this is the whole structure of the group. And the next one is how does this fellowship work? We will talk about the timing. Usually the meeting starts at 2 p.m. EST, which is 12 p.m. MST, and 1 p.m. CST, and 11 a.m. PST. And for those of you who are outside the US, you can calculate that time so that you will arrange your priorities and meeting schedule. So, and in terms of the content-wise, usually the content is divided into 2 aspects. One is the medical aspect, which will focus on the academic discussion of different medical conditions. And the second one is, as I discussed earlier, it will focus more into the app, IT, research publication, how to find a paper, where to publish, how to publish, and other aspects. Regarding the Telegeriatric Research Fellowship app, I have made a long video, and probably I will try to attach that link at the end of this meeting. So anything you need to know about that app, you can watch that 5-minute video summary. And I think today I also logged in, checked in, and there is a script writing of what I have done by a new doctor, which is very good. So it will give you a good idea on how to proceed. The next question is it legitimate? Of course, it is legitimate. We have different senior fellows who matched from this program and who used this program as a bridge between being an IMG and going to residency. The one thing that is left is to credit this program with the American Association, the AMC one, and I think Dr. Naod is also working hard on it. The next question is it worth it? I absolutely agree. To be honest with you, the first time I joined this group, I had zero publication and I had zero interest in research, but I knew that research should be at least 30 to 40% chunk of my CV because of my year of graduation. So it is worth it. Even if you are at work, even if you are driving, even if you are eating, or even if you are taking care of your kid, joining in and listening to conversation will help you a lot, to be honest. 2 hours, whatever you are doing, it will be very helpful. So it's really worth it. And the next thing is it's free. Nowadays, and especially for those of you who live in North America, Canada, and the US, this research guidance publication, they charge you a lot. And thank God to Dr. Nadir, this is a completely free program, not even a penny charge. And do you benefit? Of course, we all benefit from this. We get the chance to connect people, to make publication, to be led and to lead different people. So it's really worth it and beneficial. And the last aspect is attendance. To be honest, some of you may have other obligations. Some of you may be mom, some of you may be working on Saturday, Sunday. Some of you may be on a different time zone where your time zone doesn't allow you to attend every meeting every weekend. But if you got a chance, I strongly advise you to attend each session. If not, you can watch the video later and benefit from the recording. The next one is golden rules. The first one is respect. Most of us have already graduated from medical school or soon to be graduate from medical school. So let's treat this program as a professional networking program. So try to respect whether you are a team leader or a team follower. Try to treat every member of your group with respect. And the second one is professionalism. Try to act as much as you can as a professional, because at the end of the day, we are all here professional. And you don't necessarily have to be right on a daily basis. So your ability to correct others and to be corrected while you are in this program is also very much needed. You don't have to get it right every time you attend a meeting, every time you lead a group, or every time you are led by someone. So your ability to accept criticism or to criticize people should be focused on bettering yourself or bettering others, nothing more, nothing less. And you should also familiarize yourself on the way, especially the first 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, on how things are progressing. So these are the golden rules. What does a typical session look for this meeting? So as most of you have seen, the introduction was done by Dr. Nadir, and Dr. Namarig took over as a team leader for today. Then eventually me and the next presenter will lay down their PowerPoint and presentation. And as I said earlier, we have 2 sections. The first section is the medical side. The second section is more focused on the research, IT, app development, link videos, rounds, certificates, and others. So for me, as I said earlier, this part was like the most fun part. I got to know a lot of people. I got to immerse myself in different projects, learn from people, and also admire other people's ambition regarding medicine in a different aspect. So especially the second part was my favorite part still until now. I will try to attach the Loom video at the end of the session so that will give you a good idea on how to access the Telegeriatric Research Fellowship app. Before joining, always fix your microphone and network. Try to be in a quiet place so that the flow and the clarity of the presentations throughout the day would be nice and to the point. By the end of the year, at least you will hopefully learn basic research skills and networking. Networking may be on different bases. Networking for residency, networking for research, networking for friends, and networking for quick advices and guidance from different people in this group. I would advise to focus at least minimum on 1 publication throughout the program. If you publish 5, 7, 8 papers, well and good. But at the end of the day, when you look back, for that 6 or 8 or 10 months program, you should at least have one publication. This is a minimum. And you will also get a chance to know a lot of committed colleagues. You'll be surprised what other people can do and how other people are committed to kind of help improve themselves and help improve other people. So this is also a good chance for you to kind of reconnect with people who are very serious about their professional career. This will also help you expand your network, what I have said earlier. And it will also shape you and inform you with the right information to proceed to residency. The next thing is things not to do. The first thing is you have to log in using your name. This is very important because at least for attendance purposes and whoever is interested in joining a project or a research, it would be nice if you log in using your actual name, the name that you used for the fellowship program. Sometimes you are driving, you are at work, you can log in using your phone, but it would be nice just to, if you change the caller ID or Zoom ID to your real name so that we will have clarity and that sense of like mind peace when we discuss with people. Don't make the project all about you. So 1 week you might be the leader, the next week you might be the follower. At the end of the day, the whole target is how do I equip myself with the right resources and right ideas to join residency, or if not, join the research fellowship. So when you start a project, it's not all about you. It's all about the rest of the group. One, and try to have clarity and a clear way of communication. This is not the time where you kind of hide your personality or feelings so that the project will be done. Always be direct. Don't be too bossy, but at the same time, try to get the tasks done. And the things that we don't do in this group is refuse to help or guide other people, especially if you have the ability or if you have the resources, try to be as fruitful and as helpful to other either new members or senior members, because at some point we all have been there when we don't have anyone to guide, when we have no clue on how to proceed. So if you feel that you have the ability, try to be helpful to other people, one, and especially if you are in Canada and the USA, there's a saying, they say that everyone is one ticket and one text away. So if you have an access to WhatsApp or cell phone or any form of communication, try to at least acknowledge the fact that you have been asked to be a guidance or help to other people. And if you have the ability to help people, honestly help. And if you feel you don't have the resources or time to help people, you can either refer or you can clearly communicate with them that you are not in position to help people. And the next one is being non-professional. Always try to act, talk, and present yourself in a very professional manner. And unfortunately, I have been part of groups where people see your message and they respond to you after a month, even if they do have the access and time to respond. So communication is really, really, really important. If you feel that you don't have any interest in that project, clearly communicate to people saying that I'm out. Or if you feel that you are going for a vacation, or if you feel that you cannot contribute as much as you wanted or you should have, try to communicate. So being non-communicative is actually the things that we don't do here. Regarding questions, if you have minor clarification issues, simple things about how to log in, how to log out, how to access the recording, how to contact someone, you can easily shoot a text at the WhatsApp group. This will help kind of smooth the presentation in Saturday and focus on the bigger goals. So if you feel like you have minor issues to solve, shoot a text at WhatsApp group. Almost 99% of people are willing to help. But if you have an issue needing attention, such as new ideas, projects, abstract, or if you want to recruit people for a new research, at the end of the meeting, you can raise your hand and ask, well, I want to do this. Is there anyone who's interested in joining this group? Usually we can do this on a Saturday meeting. And if you have a private issue, so let's say if you want to join a research program or fellowship and you have found a spot, but you want a letter of recommendation from either Dr. Nadir or from other group members, you can privately write them an email and communicate in that way. And one thing to add is, especially if you are in this group for about a year, I think you have the liberty to kind of write a letter of recommendation to other people or recommend other people, because in all honesty, they were there with you, they have worked with you, and they have published with you. So issues like this should be done like on a private basis. You can ask an email and that communication can continue in that way. Regarding for the app, I will attach this long video in the transcript, so in the WhatsApp group or in the Zoom meeting, so that you will have a all-rounded information about the app. Frequently asked questions. Number one is publication. How soon I can get my paper published? So supposedly, if we start a group today to kind of have a framework and assemble the team, it usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks, and to work on the project, it might take about 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how committed the other group members are. And averagely, journalists, they respond to you 4 to 6 weeks. So let's say if you are applying for residency next year, I prefer if you start 4 or 5 or even 6 projects right now, so that you never know, out of 6, 4 or 5 may get published, and you will have that mind peace by the end of June or July that everything is ready to go. Instead of starting June, July, and then suddenly starting a project and putting it on your resume as pending or soon to publish. So try to multitask, try to commit yourself as much as you can to any project, and try to involve yourself in the project that you feel have an interest to. Regarding presentation, the presentation mainly focus on the medical aspect of our career. I have seen a lot of people asking that I want to present next week, I want to present the next week. Even though that's a good ambition, I would love people to focus more on the third and fourth aspect of the program, so that you will have publications, you will acquaint yourself with different programs, different applications, and different apps. That part of presentation can be done at any time throughout the year. You can engage yourself with a team which might not be a group member of you or different group if you feel that you want to present. Always be engaged. Don't sit around and don't wait for luck to happen for you. Always be engaged. Offer what you can offer to people, and people will take you. And if you feel that you have the right skill and qualities to engage yourself in project, go for it. And the last one is regarding residency. Even though the bigger ultimate goal of this group is to match into residency, if you haven't taken residency, your step 1 or your step 2 or your OET or your step 3, this is the wrong way to start the program. So this is like the ultimate goal, but on the long run. So if you are currently taking step 1, I would advise you to kind of like tick these boxes, like have a publication, presentation, and be engaging in abstract, so that you have like a multi-directional approach to that residency. If you are taking step 1 now or step 2, and if you worry about which are IMG-friendly states or what is the cut point score, I think that's a wrong way of approaching your problem. This is the ultimate goal, but you have to tick the simple boxes of step 1, step 3, and OET when you want to think about this one. If you are taking step 1 or step 2, just try to tick this publication and project, so that you will be a wholesome and all-rounded person to match to residency. I do have only 2 recommendations for this program. One is I was extremely disappointed, still not happy that I don't see a lot of active male participants in this group. All the group leaders, all the active, all the people who come with a new idea, new project, new app, new way of helping people, new way of approaching a problem. Even though it's really good that we have very engaged female colleagues, I would love to see if there are new participants or new fellows, maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5, to be actively engaged and be a team leader, so that we can also pull a lot of male participants to this group. So I'm not saying that it's a bad thing we have very active, engaged team leaders which are female. I'm just saying that it would be nice if you can recruit from the new people who are engaged and who can act as a new male leaders. And the second part is, I would love to see also US medical graduates maybe once or twice a month to come to this group and give us an advice from their perspective. They can tell us how the game is played, how to approach residency, if you have a low score, if you have an attempt, if you don't have a research publication, if your year of graduation is 2010 or 2009, or if your government is not providing your licensure, or if you have any personal issues, how do you tackle this information? Because they do have the in and out of the US residency program networking. So if you know anyone who is a US medical graduate but willing to be a participant or speaker in this group, it will be highly appreciated. And the last one is a take-home message. So there is a quote that says, the tick or the trick to being successful and proficient in life is getting help from others without you desperately needing help on a daily basis. People cannot carry on a daily basis and cannot show you all the way. So today, you might not know nothing. In a month, you might know something. In 3 months, you might know 50% of the things that you need to know. So your ability to be engaged and willing to learn on a daily basis will help you and will also kind of attract help from others. You cannot sit and say, let me do this, help me that. Just show some sort of commitment or show some sort of contribution to any project so that people will say, okay, we can have him in our team. And the second quote that I just want you to kind of take it home is the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next. So keep on climbing and keep on thriving, sorry. Well, if you are joining this program today, you may have 0 publication. You might be still taking your step 1 or step 2, and you might not know even a single IMG in your network. But come 3 months or 4 months, you should assess yourself. Okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So even though if you feel that you have accomplished it, you may have 10 publication, or you may have matched to residency, or you may have 500 network in your LinkedIn, or you may have 100 contacts in your cell phone who are one text away from helping you. Just keep on climbing and keep on striving to achieve the best version of yourself. The last one is slowly is the fastest way of going where you want to go. So if you are new to this program, don't feel discouraged saying people that, oh, my step score is this, I have this publication, I have this poster, I have this network, or this program director is my friend. At some point you will get there, but slowly is the fastest way of going there. You cannot do it within 6 months, 4 months, all the things that have been accomplished by people within 3 years. Always learn a new skill every Saturday, even if you are driving, even if you are cooking, even if you are giving your baby a bathroom break or whatever. Try to learn a single skill every Saturday. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? I just don't want you to log in and your name pop out and say, oh, he attended that meeting. As long as this meeting is free and as long as the project is designed in such a way to help yourself, ask yourself, what did I learn today? And always assess yourself in 3 and 6 months. The first person that I introduced me to this group before a year, and the first person that kind of engaged myself in research was Dr. Dua Nasruddin before a year, I remember. And she was very helpful at first. So if you can offer help to people, always help people. One, because at some point you will help. And secondly, because at some point people need help. So always assess yourself in 3 and 6 months, one, and always don't be afraid to ask help from people. And always, if people ask you for help and if you can do it, just go for it. And it's also good for you mentally so that you have that accomplishment feeling. This was my presentation. I wish you all of the participants, those who applied for this year or those who are going to apply for next year, or those who just joined the program today, to have a good luck. And if you have any questions, I'm more than welcome to help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naod. This is great, and hopefully this will help all the newcomers. And by the way, we would like to welcome all of the new fellows. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naod. Go ahead, Dr. Nader.
I just want to go to the next topic, so go ahead.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Dr. Naod, for the great presentation. It was really informative and interesting at the same time. So thank you for that. And I would like also to take the chance to thank Dr. Nader for this opportunity. You gave us a huge opportunity that we really helping from it. So thank you so much. Now at this point, let's go to the next topic, which is the soap preparation steps, which will be presented by Dr. Mulham Ombada. Dr. Mulham, are you ready?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do hear you. So
Okay.
you can start your presentation.
I think it says you cannot start screen share while the other participant is in sharing.
Give me 1 second.
Yep.
I stop sharing. Can you share now?
Oh, perfect. Let me try. I think I can, yep. Thank you. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Not yet.
While Dr. Mulham is bringing up the screen, I'd like to introduce him. He is one of the first group fellow. He graduated from this program with multiple projects done, and he joined the residency program in New York, upstate New York. And now he is going for a fellowship program, clinical, I think, in palliative team, so palliative medicine. So go ahead, Dr. Mulham. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your help.
Thank you, Dr. Nader. And it's always great to be back to this great program where everything started. Generally, I enjoyed how everything at the time, and seeing the presentation from Dr. Naod and how it's very structured and very organized is just great to see. So first of all, this is an important topic that I've presented like last year, I believe, or the year before. It is important just at the back of our head, just in case something doesn't go the way we thought it would. That's important to have. I just mentioned here my Twitter account. This is something that I just started recently, which is educational series in internal medicine and covering some important topics for us as IMGs, as well as for interns, as well as residents. It's kind of reviewing the most important topics in different points in terms of definitions, history taking, as well as the history of the disease, management ways, and a lot of things that cover that topic. So if you want to join that, it would be great. So let's speak about the elephant in the room, which is soap. So what is soap? So I remember the first time when I heard soap, like a few years back, one of my friends were talking about soap together. And the first thing that came to my mind is, why are they talking about soap? Because we were talking about matching process. So definitely they were not talking about soap that was in my mind at the time. They were referring to supplemental offer and acceptance program. So this is something that is new. We're not familiar to. It's more common to the US grads. They're familiar to that wording. So for us as IMG, we're important for us to always try to interact with people in the system, IMGs or US grad, as Dr. Naod mentioned. That's important because you start understanding how the system works and how can you develop your own structure in terms of formulating your strategy to match, because it's all about the strategy and it will happen eventually for everyone. So what is a SOAP? So basically it is a week where we have a process that it happens. So it's defined as a SOAP provides a uniform system for programs to offer unfilled positions to eligible, unmatched, or partially matched applicants through a series of offer rounds during match week. So what does partially matched means? It means that there are some applicants who apply through the match process and they got a prelim offer. So they have a 1-year offer, or they have the other side, which is either they had the 2nd year and 3rd year for, let's say, ophthalmology or anesthesia or etc. So they would need to have the SOAP to have that prelim year or the years after. So who is eligible for the SOAP? So it's a week from Monday up to Thursday. Partial matched and fully unmatched applicants who meet eligibility requirement may participate in SOAP to try to obtain an unfilled residency position. It is important that applicants be ready for SOAP in the event they learn on Monday of match week that they are unmatched. So this is important here. I didn't go back to the NRMP website to confirm the exact dates because it keeps on changing from year to year. And this year, the only difference, I guess, is instead of Friday, usually we used to have Friday as a day where we get the results, either you match or not. This time around, it's Monday, which is kind of makes more sense. So you get a message first, knowing that you matched, so you need to stop doing anything else, or you are unmatched, and then you need to go through the SOAP process. So that's the important message. And it is considered to be March 11th. That's the date of the first email at 10 a.m. in the morning. So how can I participate in SOAP match? Probably everyone is asking that question. So if you applied for the NRMP main residency match, technically you already are eligible for SOAP. So applicants can only apply through ERAS and may not initiate contact with programs during SOAP. So this is important to remember. So always we would like to apply to programs and then emailing them. So is it appropriate? Well, it's not. If let's say you apply during the SOAP week from March 11th up to the end of the week, you cannot email programs. That's considered to be a red flag. So does it happen all the time? Probably not, because programs understand that we are going through anxiety. So probably they'll be like, no, we don't need to make the applicants suffer from that. But still, some programs might do that. So there is no need to put yourself in that situation. So it's considered to be a red flag, and you might be reported. And if that happens, probably you'll be completely out of the match for probably 5 or even 10 years, or sometimes for life. So that's something not to be done during that week. But after that week, if SOAP opens and you don't get an offer, you didn't match, you can apply to the unfilled positions by Friday or the days after. So what are the SOAP interviews? So SOAP interviews are very similar to the main match season in terms of the protocol, which is you will get an offer, usually by your email or through ERAS or NRMP website. So you're always trying to figure out the 3, making sure they're open during that week and trying to see if there's an offer. So they will contact you for first an interview. Sometimes they will give you an offer immediately during the rounds, or they could just call you directly over your phone. So you need to make sure your phone is open and charged and ready for a phone call, and probably they might call. How many programs can we apply to during that week? It's 45 programs. So as you can see, this is the ERAS schedule from Monday 11 up to, from March 11 up to March 15. It's divided just based on the SOAP. There's only one part which is not mentioned here to the left side, which is March 11, 10 a.m. That's when you get the email saying you matched or you haven't matched. And if you get the message that you match, there's nothing for you to do more than that. But if it says you are not matched, and usually it would say you are SOAP eligible. So what happens is 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, the website would close, that's ERAS. They'll start preparing everything for 11 a.m. and applicants will start reviewing their application, and you'll be able to see the programs that are open at that time. All the things that you can change are your personal statement, your photo. So if you made some publications or you did some interesting things that you think that will help, you can add it to your personal statement. March 12, from the morning, it will open to the program directors. So PDWS stands for Program Director Workstation. So now they're able to see who applied to their programs. So it's better to finish everything on March 11 so that programs will be able to know who's mostly interested in them from the early morning. And they will start working on their rank list at 11:30. That is the ones who they would want to match or for interviews during that phase. March 13, all day, you also still have time to review programs. You can still place your interested programs, like 45 programs, and apply to them. You have multiple options. You can either apply to 5 programs, 10 programs, 20, 30. It's your choice to make, but the majority would go for 45 because your chances are the best during round 1. So Thursday or March 14, we have 4 rounds. Round 1 is from 9 to 11 a.m. That's where most likely programs are able to send their invites, but you won't be able to see it at this time. By 11 a.m., that's when it opens. You'll be able to go to your ERAS website and be able to see that you have an offer. You can sign the contract at that time. And one thing to add here is during the rounds, programs are actually contacting applicants, the ones who they think is the best fit for them, from 9 to 11. That's round 1. Round 2 is from 12 to 2. It's always 2 hours. And the time in between the rounds, that's the time when they send usually the offers. So then we got round 3 and round 4. By the end of round 4, you'll check your ERAS to see if there is any offer. If there's no offer, it means the SOAP has ended, and there's some other programs which are considered to be open at that time. They would probably be open for everyone to apply. So you can start applying to programs Thursday or Friday, the ones who have positions that are unfilled. So that's mostly a week, which is considered to be the SOAP, and that's literally the SOAP in a nutshell. And I wish you all good luck. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me either by Twitter or by my email, and I will add it to the chat. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Mulham, for the great presentation. So I don't see any questions.
Thank you again, Dr. Mulham, and we really appreciate your input and your tips. Hopefully this will help some people, but we wish you all the best. So hopefully you will get it from first time.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Nader.
And we wish you all the best as well. You're going to start your fellowship in July, I guess?
Yeah, it's going to be in 4 months. Yeah, very excited.
Excellent. Good luck with that. Thank you.
Thank you. And wish all the best for everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good.
You too.
Thank you, Dr. Mulham, and wish you all the best in your fellowship program.
Thank you. You too.
Then we're going to move to the next topic, which is the finance in geriatric medicines, will be presented by Dr. Talal Abdulmotalb. Dr. Talal, are you ready?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Mulham and Dr. Naod.
Thank you.
Great presentation.
Dr. Talal, can you share your screen?
Yes, I'm doing that. Can everyone see it?
Yeah, we see your screen.
Okay. So today I'm presenting a quick recap on financing in geriatric medicine. A quick note to know and understand are the types of financing for elderly in medicine, which includes Medicaid, Medicare, and the VA, the Veteran Affairs. So Medicare has 4 different plans for chronic diseases, for prescription, and for the hospice care. I'm going to talk about them in details onwards. This is an updated graph about the federal spending. The healthcare has increased since the COVID crisis by about 6% in total from the previous year, which is 2018. This is the projection for this year, the previous one, up to 2026, which will increase every year by about 3.4%. Okay, so Medicare, as we said, it has several plans. Part A, it has no premiums for elderly. The coverage premium for it has increased in the year 2017. It was previously 340, and it became $413 per month. To be eligible, you have to be 65, a citizen, or a green card holder. The premiums are deducted from the 401k and the Social Security. Okay, I'm sorry. Second. Dr. Namarig, can you please take over for me? I have people in the house with me.
Righty, no problem. So, are we going to be moving the slides though?
I will give you the control.
Okay.
Can you do it?
Alrighty, let's just give me a second. Let me see what I can do.
كلها فيديو بيجيك.
So we can try to get the shared file between Namarig and Talal. So in the meantime, I'm gonna just give you some background about this topic. So basically, we want you to know how the cost of taking care of older adults when they are sick is so expensive that the future is more or less based on how we can minimize the cost for taking care of these older adults in the US. And to tell you the truth, it's all over in China, for example, in other places as well. So here in the US, there are some insurance that will cover the cost for taking care of these patients. And this insurance can be divided into two. One of them is private type and the other one is government type. The government, we have the big one, Medicare, that's supported or paid by the federal government. And then there is Medicaid that's paid by the state. So it's a state level kind of insurance. So you can apply, but each one of these big insurance, they have their own eligibility. So you have to meet certain criteria. For Medicare, you need to be 65-year-old or older, and other criteria like you work in this country, you paid some taxes and so forth. For Medicaid, it's a state run program, so they have their own requirements. So the age is not a big of a deal, so it can cover patients who are younger, but they have to meet certain criteria, like they have to be, excuse me, meeting health issues or conditions that they cover. If you have conditions and you apply, then you have to cover the cost. For example, if you have assets, if you have a house, they want you to sell your house. If you are in a nursing home, for example, they can pay for the nursing home for your cost, and you can, excuse me, so they can cover the cost of taking care of that patient in a nursing home, but that patient is supposed to sell all their assets to cover the basics, and when they are run out of all their finance, then the government or the state will cover the cost for this kind of expenses. So these are the two major differences between Medicare and Medicaid. And then there is a private insurance. The private insurance is one that run and they have different ones. There are bigger ones like Blue Cross Blue Shield. This is one of them, but there are others. And all these insurances, basically they want to get as much money profit out of the business part, but they can cover the cost. If you get hospitalized, if you need surgery, they can pay for that, and your medications, they can pay for that. And most of them, they will ask some contribution from the patient, like it's called copay. So if you need to see your doctor, the visit can cost $100. The insurance will pay $80. You will pay $20, something like that. If you go to the emergency room, the cost will be $2,000. You will cover all of it except $50 that you will pay as a co-payment, and so on. If you want to get some medications, you can pay $10, and then they will cover the rest of the cost for that medication. So this is, in essence, the basics of the insurance side. Are you ready, Dr. Namarig? Are you able to move the slides? Or are you back, Dr. Talal?
Actually, I didn't get the access
Yeah,
to the presentation.
I'm back.
Are you back? Okay. Go ahead,
Yes.
Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nader, for taking the time to explain that.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, so Dr. Nader explained the two parts of Medicare and Medicaid. I'll continue from there. Okay. So the private insurance part, the one with the that they co-finance with the government is the Medigap, which has several types. They cover up to a point on select individuals. It depends on the declaration, and which includes the diagnosis of the select individuals, as I said. I'm going to explain a bit more moving on in the presentation. I also want to explain just a small difference, because the cost of medical treatment and medications in the US is significantly higher than the rest of the world. The insurance sector, I have studied the one for example, in Europe and the Middle East. They have two types of insurance. The private one, even the private one, it's very different than the one in the US, because there it depends on the declaration for the elderly in geriatric care, and the premiums they pay is way less than in the US. And then after that, the government takes over, whether in the European Union or in the Middle East, in the Gulf states. So moving on. The Medigap policies do not cover long-term care, dental care, eyeglasses, hearing aids, private duty nursing, or out-of-pocket cost for Medicare Part C. The high-cost medications. This is a new point to add on to Dr. Nader. The donut hole coverage gap, it's for the prescription drugs. They increased the yearly limit from 3,200 in 2017 to 4,660 in 2023 because of the increase in the premiums of chronic care medications for chronic disease. This is a breakdown of the spending of Medicare benefits. This is in 2016, and the previous one is in 2020. A benefit under Medicare Part A, providing a wide range of medical coverage for patients deemed to be within 6 months of death. The hospice, responsible for covering all drugs for palliation and management of the terminal conditions related and their related conditions. Part D covers prescription drugs for problems unrelated to terminal conditions. Medicaid, Dr. Nader already explained it. It's health insurance for low-income individuals of all ages. It's a joint program between the state and the federal government, and the eligibility varies from state to state and from individual to individual. It pays for home care for a patient who reaches a specific threshold of the course of their illness. And the eligibility for the enrollment, it depends on the income and the social security share paid by that individual. Some people have dual eligibility between Medicaid and Medicare. Those individuals have an increased benefits, and they can take from both programs. The accountable care organizations are a group of clinicians and hospitals that coordinate voluntarily, and their goal is to provide a high quality patient care without duplication of the services in several facilities, and alleviate the medical errors. The program was introduced in 2013. The idea is to incentivize the hospitals and clinicians with the higher traffic at a lower cost. Okay. The third type of insurance, the government provided, is the veteran. It's provided by the Veteran Affairs. Once enrolled in the VA healthcare system, veterans can be seen at any of the VA facilities across the countries for inpatient hospital care, outpatient care, labs, medications, rehabilitation, and mental health counseling and custodial care. The only exception for the VA medical insurance is for individuals who are beneficiary of the Medicare program. So the exceptions are veterans who are Medicare beneficiaries that can use the Medicare system, veterans who are partnering with outside providers to extend their services, and those participants these are some of the resources. So in summary, Medicare has 4 benefit plans, A, B, C, and D. A covers hospital, subacute, and acute skilled nursing, nursing, and home health, as well as hospice. Part B, it covers the physicians, nurse practitioners, social workers, psychologists, therapists, and labs. Part C it provides the benefits for medications and advanced treatment plans. with that has some sort of shared management with the private sector. Part D is for drugs. It covers the medications. The Medigap, it's the supplementation of the governmental part with the private insurance or private part. Medicaid, as Dr. Nader have already explained, it's a state and federal program that provides the insurance to people of all ages who have low income. It covers the long-term care as well as the medication.
Thank you so much, Dr. Talal. This is excellent presentation and lovely presentation. So any questions for Dr. Talal? So you need to know some basics about the insurance, because when you get into residency, you may not interact with the insurance, but as soon as you get out and become your own or join a group or university when you practice, your payment basically comes from these insurances. So you need to understand the concept down the road, how they work and how do they cover this or that, so you can get paid for your work. So thank you so much, Dr. Talal. And before we jump to the next topic, we have with us also Dr. Wail Alsafi. Dr. Wail, he was also from the first group in this fellowship. He joined us later, but he joined a fellowship after this program. That's Mayo Clinic, and then he joined the residency. So why don't you jump in? Go ahead, Dr. Wail. Welcome. The floor is yours when you get a chance.
Sure, Dr. Nader. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Like Dr. Nader said, I was one of the first batch amongst Dr. Khalid and Dr. Azad. I believe they already shared their experience. I was supposed to join you guys during the last 2 weekends. Apologies, I was just a little bit busy, but thank you for the opportunities to let me share my experience with you guys. I wish you all the best for those who's applying this year and next year. So I joined the fellowship, the Telegeriatric Fellowship. I do thanks Dr. Nader. I'm very grateful for his time and his experience. Helped us tremendously in the journey of applying into residency during the peak of pandemic. Was I believe 2020. During that time, as I was applying, it helped me build a lot of knowledge, clinical knowledge, as well as research knowledge. From it, I was able to join Mayo Clinic as a research fellow, and then subsequently I joined the clinical geriatric fellowship for 1 year, and then I was able to match into internal medicine. Currently, I'm doing my first year in internal medicine at Howard University Hospital. So brief about my experience, I joined this Telegeriatric Fellowship 2020. I was applying for residency that time. And then I was able to find this research position at Mayo Clinic, from where I was able to participate in many abstract and publications that helped me with my application. When I applied to the subsequent year, I was able to secure a lot of interviews. Then unfortunately, I didn't match after the year. From the time of the match, March until June, I was looking for unfilled positions in residency and fellowship. Luckily, I was able to find this geriatric fellowship before my residency through a website called Unmatched MD. During that time, was 2 years ago, I believe. The website is very helpful. It has a lot of opportunities. So I did reach out with email to the program, and they offered me an interview. I was able to join the fellowship June. Actually, I got my interview in June 5th, and then I joined the fellowship. From the fellowship itself, the program is big. They have internal medicine residency program as well. So when you find a fellowship, this is one of the tips that when you apply for fellowship, you can also find a residency spot in that program. So tips and tricks about applying is the first thing is to make sure you have a complete full application. If you're able to complete all your steps, is including step 3, if you can, reach out to many programs as possible, depending on your budget, and then do as much research. Also, from the time that application from September until December, you should reach out to many programs with many emails as possible. And then you will know where the season is heading from that time. From the time of February until May and June, then you will start looking for backup plans like fellowships, specifically ID, nephrology, and geriatrics. So you will have to make a template of email. I remember from my own experience, when I did not match, I was looking for a fellowship from March until May. I sent around like 400, 500 emails to fellowship programs, ID, geriatrics, and nephrology. I was interviewed actually for ID and nephrology. Some people, it depends on the preference, find geriatrics more appealing because it's just 1 year transition to residency, especially if you don't want to do nephrology or ID. You can, things you can share in your email is your selling points. If you have a citizenship, if you have a step 3, and of course, this fellowship, it's a tremendous help if you are applying for geriatric specifically. I believe this presentation, the previous presentation, if you can demonstrate the knowledge of this insurance in your interview, if you are able to find an interview that will secure a spot in geriatric fellowship for sure, if you get that position of interview. Good luck to everybody. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer it. Dr. Nadu, you're mute.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wail, for the excellent sharing your experience and excellent tips. Yeah, I agree with you. So hopefully everyone will match from the first get-go, and we'll hear good news. Just in case some might not match. So as Dr. Wail mentioned, think about plan B. So there are some programs that can accept international medical graduates. If you have the citizenship, US or the green card, that will be a very plus. If you have clinical experience here or overseas, that's another one. The third one, which is important part, is if you took step 3, that makes life easy for them to accept you. And then this fellowship, if you have publications, posters that you can talk about during the interview, and that also will help you when you're doing your fellowship. So as much as you can contribute in literature, that will help you when you do your interviews. But I agree with you, Dr. Wail. Thank you for your tips and sharing your experience.
Of course, and if anybody has any more questions, you can always just shoot me an email. I would be happy to help.
How about the fellowship in Cleveland Clinic? I'm not Cleveland, the Florida.
Mayo Clinic. Yeah, that's a very it was a big help for me. It did help me matching into geriatric fellowship and into my residency. You will reach out to primary investigator. They have a lot of primary investigator in Rochester and in Jacksonville. Just reach out with your email, highlight this telegeriatric fellowship that you are doing right now. It will tell them that you do have background experience in research, and they will offer you a trainee position. They will help you with a lot of abstract. They will provide you with a lot of letter of recommendation, and depending on the attending that you are working with, you can also be able to find some clinical experience like shadowing or like hand-on clinical experience. It depends on the attending. And if you're lucky, they can offer you a research fellow paid position. That would be very helpful as well. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Dr. Wail.
You're very welcome. Yeah. If anybody has any question, I'm happy to answer.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my only question for Dr. Wail is supposedly if you decide to move to Florida or Minnesota or New York for the fellowship, do they at least pay a basic salary to cover your day-to-day expenses when you are doing that fellowship before you ultimately match to residency? That's my only question.
It depends. Thank you for your question. It depends on the position as well as the project that you're working on. So if they are recruiting you for a specific project that is funded, and you do have, it depends on your experience as well. So if you are able to provide them that you can do some research experience, you can do some statistical analysis, you can do something that can help them with the research, they will offer you a paid position. However, most of them, unfortunately, they will not pay you, but they will not stress you as well. So you won't be required to come from 8 to 5 every single day to work on the hospital, and they're not paying you.
And is it like a contract only 1 year or just?
Most of it is just 1 year. Most of it, it's an appointment. So they will give you a 1 year position, and then depending on that, they can renew it. From that 1 year position, the experience that you will get, it will help you. If sometimes when I was doing my position was unpaid position, I was and I did not match after my Mayo Clinic research. So my mentor was ready to offer me a paid position as a second year. So if you can finish that 1 year, and God forbid you didn't find a residency from the experience that you, make sure just like if you get that position to gain as much experience as possible, learn as much skills as possible, that can help you get a paid position. Hope that answered your question.
Go ahead, Dr. Majid Idris.
Hi, everyone. This is my first meeting with you guys here, and I have like 2 questions. I want to ask about how you do matching group and find a project that's related to my prefer as a dentist here, digging in oral medicine. So, because I feel like I'm lost, I want to know how we can do that. And the second question, do we use the Talal app for the communication and finding project and everything, or there is another method we can use?
Thank you so much for your question, and welcome to the program. So we have a dental group composed of some dental students or graduates. So they are working on different projects. Sometimes they present similar to what the presentation from today, and they are working on some research or some mobile app development. So you can contact them from the app. You can locate some of them, and you will have either email or phone numbers, and you can get in touch. The best way to communicate between you guys in the group, usually we found WhatsApp is the best or the quickest. You can contact each fellow directly using text or call. You can reach me via email or text me. The app itself, you can use it to communicate as far as finding a project. You can add yourself to the team, or you can discuss about new topic or new projects, and we can add that to the project list so that people can join you if you are interested in certain part. But most of the time, you can communicate using the WhatsApp group. We have the general group, and then small groups, and then you have the team. In each team, there is a team leader. You can reach out to the team leader. They can guide you with all questions if you have any questions. Thank you.
I want to say something if I can help her. My name is Wail. I'm a dentist. We have actually a big group of dentists here. Just if you are a member of the big group, you can just send me a message. I will contact you and I will add you in a big group of dentists.
That would be right. Thank you.
Okay, you're most welcome.
Thank you both. Any other questions for Dr. Wail before we jump to the next topic?
If anybody think of anything, I just left my contact information. You can reach out to me anytime. I'd be happy to help. And good luck for everybody matching into residency. Thank you, Dr. Nader.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wail, and we really appreciate your time, and we wish you all the best. Good luck with training. Yeah. Have a good day.
You as well. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Wail. Thank you for sharing your experience. Now, at this point, let's move to the world of statistics. And the next topic will be the quantitative analysis, data analysis will be presented by me. Just give me a second, share the screen. So do you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start. So the first question is, what's quantitative data analysis? So despite being a mouthful, quantitative data analysis simply means analyzing data that's numbers-based or data that can be easily converted into numbers without losing any meaning. For example, category-based variables like gender, ethnicity, and native language could all be converted into numbers without losing meaning. For example, English could equal 1, French could equal 2, and so on. So this contrasts against the qualitative data analysis, where the focus is on words, phrases, and expressions that can't be reduced to numbers. Now, what's the quantitative data analysis used for? Quantitative analysis is generally used for three purposes. First, it's used to measure differences between groups. For example, the popularity of different clothing colors or brands. Second, it's used to assess the relationships between variables. For example, the relationship between the weather temperature and the voter turnout. And thirdly, it's used to test the hypotheses in scientifically rigorous way. For example, a hypothesis about the impact of a certain vaccine. So again, this contrasts with qualitative analysis, which can be used to analyze people's perceptions and feelings about an event or situation. In other words, things that can't be reduced to numbers. Now, how does quantitative data analysis work? Now, well, since qualitative data analysis is all about analyzing numbers, it's no surprise that it involves statistics. Statistical analysis methods form the engine that powers quantitative analysis. And these methods can vary from pretty basic calculations like averages and medians to more sophisticated analysis like correlations and regressions. What are the two branches of quantitative data analysis? So we have two branches, descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. And in your research, remember, you might only use descriptive statistics, or you might use a mix of both, depending on what you're trying to figure out. In other words, depending on your research questions, aims, and objectives. Now, to understand the difference between the two branches of statistics, you need to understand two important words, which are the population and the sample. Now, let's start with population. In statistics, the population is the entire group of people or animals, organization, and so on, that you're interested in researching. For example, if you were interested in researching Tesla owners in the US, then the population would be all Tesla owners in the US. However, unfortunately, it's extremely unlikely that you're going to be able to interview or survey every single Tesla owner in the US. Realistically, you will likely only get access to a few hundred or maybe a few thousand owners using an online survey. This smaller group of accessible people whose data you actually collect is called the sample. Remember, the population is the entire group of people you're interested in, and the sample is the subset of population that you actually get access to. In other words, the population is the full chocolate cake, whereas the sample is a slice of that cake. Now, why is the sample population definition important? Now, descriptive statistics focus on describing the sample, hence the name, right? While inferential statistics aim to make predictions about the population based on the findings within the sample. In other words, we use one group of statistical method, the descriptive statistics, to investigate the slice of cake, and another group of methods, like inferential statistics, to draw conclusions about the entire cake. Let's talk about the first branch of descriptive analysis, which is the descriptive statistic. Descriptive statistics serve a simple but clinically important role in your research to describe your data set, hence the name. In other words, they help you understand the details of your sample. Unlike inferential statistics, the descriptive statistics don't aim to make inferences or predictions about the entire population. They're purely interested in the details of your specific sample, or remember, your slice. When you're writing up your analysis, descriptive statistics are the first set of statistics you will cover. So remember, you always start with descriptive statistic before moving to inferential statistic. But that being said, depending on your research objectives and research questions, they may be the only type of statistics you use. Some common statistical tests used in the branch, which is the descriptive analysis, includes the following. The mean, which is simply the mathematical average of a range of numbers. The median, which is the midpoint in a range of numbers when the numbers are arranged in numerical order. If the data set makes up an odd number, then the median is the number right in the middle of the set. However, if the data set makes an even number, then the median is the midpoint between the two middle numbers. Next, we have the mood, which is simply the most commonly occurring number in the data set, the most popular. Standard deviation. This metric indicates how dispersed a range of numbers is. In other words, how close all the numbers are to the mean, which is the average. Now, in cases where most of the numbers are quite close to the average, the standard deviation will be relatively low. However, in cases where the numbers are scattered all over the place, the standard deviation will be relatively high. Finally, we have the skewness. As the name suggests, skewness indicates how symmetrical a range of numbers is. In other words, do they tend to cluster into the smooth bell curve shape in the middle of a graph, or do they skew to the left or right? Now, the question, why do all these numbers matter? Well, while these descriptive statistics are all fairly basic, they're important for a few reasons. Number one, they help you get both a macro and micro level view of your data. In other words, they help you understand both the picture and the finer details. Number two, they help you spot potential error in your data, which is very important. For example, if an average is way higher than you'd expect, or responses to a question are highly varied, then you need to consider there is something wrong with the data. So it's a warning sign that you need to double check the data. And lastly, these descriptive statistics help inform which inferential statistic techniques you can use, as those techniques depend on the skewness. In other words, the symmetry and normality of the data. Let's move to the next branch, which is the inferential statistic. As we mentioned earlier, while descriptive statistics are all about the details of your specific data set, your sample, your slice, inferential statistics aim to make inferences about the population, the whole chocolate cake. In other words, you'll use inferential statistics to make predictions about what you'd expect to find in the full population. Now, there are two common types of predictions that researchers try to make using inferential statistics. Firstly, predictions about differences between groups. For example, high difference between children grouped by their favorite meal or gender. And secondly, the relationship between the variables. For example, the relationship between the body weight and the number of hours a week a person does yoga. In other words, inferential statistics, when done correctly, allow you to connect the dots and make predictions about what you expect to see in the real whole population, based on what you observe in your sample data. For this reason, inferential statistics are used for the hypothesis testing. In other words, to test hypotheses that predict changes or differences. Now, of course, when you're working with inferential statistics, the composition of your sample is really important. In other words, if your sample doesn't accurately represent the population you're researching, then your finding won't necessarily be very helpful. For example, if your population of interest is a mixture of 50% male and 50% female, and your sample is 80% male, you can't make inferences about the population based on your sample, since it's not representative. Now, what statistics are usually used in this branch? So there are so many types of statistics that are used in inferential statistics. Here we're going to cover some of them just to have an idea. So first we're going to talk about the t-test. T-test compares the means, which are the averages, of two groups of data to assess whether they're statistically significantly different. In other words, do they have significantly different means, standard deviations, or skewness? This type of testing is very helpful for understanding just how similar or different two groups of data are. For example, you might want to compare the mean blood pressure between two groups of people, one that has taken a new medication and one that hasn't, to assess whether they're significantly different. The next example is the ANOVA, which stands for Analysis of Variance. This test is similar to a t-test in that it compares the means of various groups, but ANOVA allows you to analyze multiple groups, not just two groups, as in the case of a t-test. Correlation analysis is another example. This type of analysis assesses the relationship between two variables. In other words, if one variable increases, does the other variable also increase, decrease, or stay the same? For example, if the average temperature goes up, do average ice cream sales increase too? would expect some sort of relationship between these two variables intuitively, but correlation analysis allows us to measure that relationship scientifically. Regression analysis. This is quite similar to correlation in that it assesses the relationship between variables, but it goes a step further to understand the cause and effect between the variables, not just whether they move together. In other words, does the one variable actually cause the other one to move, or do they just happen to move together naturally thanks to another force? Just because two variables correlate doesn't necessarily mean that one caused the other. This is an example of a correlation relationship. It's a scatter plot showing the relation between the height and weight, and it's clearly showing a positive effect between the two. How to choose the right analysis method. To choose the right statistical method, you need to think about two important factors: the type of quantitative data you have, specifically the level of measurement and the shape of data. And secondly, the research question and hypothesis. Let's talk about the data type. The first thing that you need to consider is the type of data you've collected or the type of data you will collect, assuming you haven't started yet. By data types, I'm referring to 4 levels of measurement, namely nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Why does this matter? Well, because different statistical methods and techniques require different types of data. This is one of the assumptions mentioned earlier. Every method has its assumptions regarding the data type. For example, some techniques work with categorical data, for example, yes or no type questions or gender or ethnicity, while others work with continuous numerical data, like age, weight, and income. And of course, some work with multiple data types. If you try to use statistical method that doesn't support the data type you have, your results will be largely meaningless. So make sure that you have a clear understanding of what types of data you've collected or will collect. Once you have this, you can then check which statistical method would support your data types here. If you haven't collected your data yet, the good news, you can work in reverse and look at which statistical method would give you the most useful insights, and then design your data collection strategy to collect the correct data types. Another important factor to consider is the shape of your data. Specifically, does it have a normal distribution? In other words, is it the bell-shaped curve centered in the middle? Or is it very skewed to the left or the right? Again, different statistical techniques work for different shapes of data. Some are designed for symmetrical data, while others are designed for skewed data. The second factor to consider when choosing the right statistical method is your research questions. The next thing you need to consider your research question as well as the hypothesis if you have some. The nature of your research questions and research hypothesis will heavily influence which statistical method and techniques you should use. If you're just interested in understanding the attributes of your sample, as opposed to the entire population, or as the theory. All right. So the next thing you need to consider is your specific research questions and the hypothesis. The nature of your research questions and research hypothesis will heavily influence which statistical method and techniques you should use. If you're just interested in understanding the attributes of your sample as opposed to the entire population, the descriptive statistics are probably all you need. For example, if you just want to assess the means, the average, and the medians, the center point of variable in a group of people. On the other hand, if you aim to understand differences between groups or relationship between variables and to infer or predict outcomes in the population, then you would likely need both descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. So it's really important to get very clear about your research aims and research questions, as well as hypotheses, before you start looking for which statistical techniques to use. Now, let's take some points home. So quantitative data analysis is all about analyzing number-based data, which includes categorical and numerical data using various statistical techniques. The two main branches of statistics are descriptive statistics and inferential statistic. Descriptive describe your sample, whereas inferential statistics make predictions about what you will find in the whole population. Common descriptive statistical methods include the mean, median, standard deviation, and skewness. In common inferential statistical method include the t-test, ANOVA, correlation, and regression analysis. To choose the right statistical method and techniques, you need to consider the type of data you're working with, as well as your research questions and hypotheses. This concludes our presentation today. Thank you guys for bearing me until the end. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Namarig. This is a great, excellent presentation and concise and to the point. And hopefully this will help you guys understand some of the basics of the statistics. So we're gonna build on this as we go along, and you can use this knowledge to help you understand when we are talking using either the basics like Excel or Google Sheets, or if we advance to statistics like tools. We have some SPSS, for example, is one tool that is used by many. So when you develop your project, you want to collect their data, you want to do the analysis, you need to understand these basic concepts. So thank you so much, Dr. Namarig.
Thank you, Dr. Nader. And so that will end up our topics for today. Our next section would be the project updates. So you guys, you can go ahead and share your updates.
So any new ideas, any projects that are anyone with updates so far? We have 2 abstracts that were accepted, and I know people are working on getting this as posters. How about app development? I know some of you are working on nephrology mobile app development. Any other new ideas or projects in this area? So I want to share with you that we are trying to expand this program and move along. So there are some changes going to happen in the coming in the near future. So we'll keep you updated. I will encourage you to use the app as far as logging to this meeting. So we might change the address for the Zoom meeting. So you will get the updated one through the app. I'll try to keep you updated. If there's any changes, you can try to communicate using the app or email or contact me, text or call. I'll be happy to guide you. But if you use the app, that's the best way. I'm going to share with you. So when you log in, you will come to this here. So this is the coming meetings. It will tell you what's the topics for next week. But if you hit here, join the Zoom meeting, this will have the correct ID for the meeting. Or if you look at it here, you will be able to get the link or the ID and the password. If you click here, it will just keep the counting or the attendance sheet for us. If you are unable to attend for any reason, would like you to let us know, so you can just hit unable to attend. That would be great also. It's just a way of letting us know. For the new people or new fellows, you can watch our previous meetings and previous videos that hopefully will help you understand some of the basic concepts. This will be listed here, and some of them by categories, and some of the research questions, for example, here. For those who are interested in grand rounds, MSU and Sparrow, they will have their grand round every 2 weeks. The meeting ID and the password will be listed here. And also the neurology at MSU will present a case and neurological grand round on Fridays. So you can click here. Usually it starts at 7:30 in the morning, New York time. So if you have questions, let us know. We'll be happy. You can click on this also for the neurology grand round every week. The internal medicine grand round will be every 2 weeks. They had their meeting this last Tuesday. So every Tuesday, every 2 weeks, they will present some topic. So any questions, suggestions, updates?
I think Vikaranisa, if I pronounced this right, she's asking about the time for internal medicine grand round.
It will be noon, 12 p.m. New York time, Eastern time. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We can conclude our meeting today. So I'd like to thank you, Dr. Namarig, and all the presenters and guests from today. And I hope this will help you guys, and wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day or night. See you next week. Assalamu alaikum.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Nana.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nader.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Nader.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nader.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you, Dr. Nader. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Dr. Nader.
Thank you so much, Dr. Asma.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, Dr. Safa.